Hello, and welcome to our webinar, where we'll be talking about the ways you can prepare your recreation organization for an emergency. Whether it's a participant injury, medical emergency, or a natural disaster, it's really important to be as prepared as possible so that you can respond effectively and efficiently and ensure that you're supporting participants too. My name is Michelle, and I'm the Marketing Manager here at Epact. I'll be your host and presenter as we explore three key areas that can help your recreation agency prepare for any emergency. But before we get started, I always like to share a little bit more about Epact Network in case anyone listening isn't familiar with what we do here. Epact is an online emergency network that helps rec organizations move information that's usually collected on paper medical forms, waivers, and consents into a secure cloud-based system. This helps associations meet legislative requirements around the collection and management of personal health information, and it also provides authorized users with secure access to critical information when it's needed the most. If you'd like to learn more, you can visit our website at www.epactnetwork.com, or you can connect with us directly by email or phone, and I'll share our contact information at the end of the presentation, so be sure to stay around for that. So let's get started. As you know, emergency and medical information is key to any safety plan for recreation organizations. Every day you provide programs and camps where children can develop, grow, and learn lifelong skills, and at the same time, the safety of these kids within your recreation center is paramount. When parents drop off their children at your community center, they're entrusting you with their child's well-being. Whether you're dealing with a fall on the playground, an allergic reaction, or a flood at the community center, your team needs critical information to respond in the best way possible. So, with the help of Epact's medical advisors, we've come up with 3 questions for every recreation organization to ask themselves. And with that, we hope that you can plan and put into place some items for making sure that you're ready for any emergency, big or small. So number 1, the big question that we're going to ask is, how do we access a participant's emergency and medical information in the event of an injury or an emergency? All emergency medical information generally should be easily and quickly accessible, ensuring that your team can promptly respond to any unexpected situation. Review the ways that your recreation team currently accesses information and seek areas for improvement. The main criteria here is to consider who has access to information and how long it will take them to open and view that information in a crisis. For example, some questions to consider or to ask yourselves: does your rec management system allow frontline staff to access participant information, or is it limited to managers and directors in the office only? Next question, if you are using paper forms, is it easy for camp leaders to quickly find information in a single binder that might be filled with hundreds of participant forms, especially if they're looking for a particular piece of information, like an allergy, or even a waiver or a consent for a particular program or activity? Beyond that, is it even possible for your team to carry these binders? So when they're filled with hundreds of forms, those are really heavy. Or do they have to rely on a phone call to the main office to retrieve key information in an emergency? Again, if they can't have that information in those binders with them, who are they relying on to get that information? Our research shows that on average it takes 5 minutes to access information that is stored on paper, and the difference between accessing information electronically and a phone call to the front desk to retrieve those details can have a huge impact on your participants' well-being, especially if it's a medical emergency or you need to get in touch with somebody quickly. Having an online system with mobile app access will allow your staff to quickly access critical medical details and emergency contact information when it's needed the most. Our next question on those lines, are we keeping our participants' information secure? So before, during, or after a program, how are you storing that information? How are you accessing it? And is it safe and secure? Are you protecting their privacy at all points? In today's day and age, we all know how critical the security and privacy of participant information is. So whether you use a rec management system or you're using paper forms to collect emergency information, we always recommend that you try to implement as many of these standards as possible. And you can adjust them according to your processes and also your systems as well. So first, recreation staff should only have access to those records that pertain to children they are overseeing. So, for example, a summer camp leader should not be able to view participants' information who are not in their immediate group. You might have an administrator who can view all participant records, but that should be limited to one or only a couple of people, versus the camp or program leaders should only be able to see those participants who are in that camp or program. Whether information is accessible at the community center or out on the road, it should always be secure. So if you're using online or internet-based systems, making sure that it's password protected and that you're using high-end passwords to keep that information protected. Or if you're using paper forms or a binder or a folder, that there's a physical lock on there as well, so that you can make sure that you're preventing unauthorized access to that private information. You should ensure compliance with all privacy legislation in your region. So the key ones here, especially when it comes to privacy, is HIPAA in the United States and both FOIPA and PIPEDA in Canada. Going back to the accessibility of information, consider recreation staff members who are no longer with your company. So whether they have moved on, or the summer is over, or they've changed roles, or they're no longer with your organization as a whole, as soon as they're no longer responsible for a participant in any of those scenarios, you should be able to remove their access to information. For example, you should be sure to eliminate access for a summer camp leader after each week of sessions. Or if it's a month-long program, make sure that they only have access for that month, and then after that, their access is removed. And then once a new program starts up again, you can make sure that that person has access to that new group of people. But that information is only accessible only for the time that it is needed. And unless information is needed for archiving reasons, and we understand that there's lots of legislation and licensing requirements that need information to be kept for significant periods of time, whether it's 30 days after a program has ended or the childhood lifetime of a participant, destroy confidential information as soon as possible. If you do not need to keep it, then there is no reason to keep it. And making sure that you're destroying it quickly and also properly as well. So again, we're looking to protect participant information at all times. And then moving on to our third question that you should be asking yourself when it comes down to preparing for emergencies: are all of our participants' emergency and medical details up to date? Often parents fill out medical forms at the very beginning of the year or during registration for a program, which often happens weeks and sometimes months before an actual program or activity takes place. However, medical information and contact information as well can change really quickly. On average, we found that 30% of forms fall out of date within 4 months of being completed. And that can be a challenge for recreation departments who are trying to keep their customer records up to date. So to avoid this challenge, find a system or a process where parents can easily update their own information online as those changes occur. So if they move house or get a new phone number, if they update or change their emergency contact information, if a child develops new allergies, or if old allergies are no longer applicable, then those changes can be made on the go and in real time, and it makes sure that you have the most accurate information before, during, and after a program as well. And in addition, your team should also receive a notification when that information is updated, so they know and they can use that information to prepare for programs however they need to. So while it's hard to be able to plan specifically for every type of emergency, having a plan in place generally and access to critical information can give you a great head start when it comes to preparing. And it can ensure that, at the very least, you're making sure that your participants are safe no matter what program or activity they're enjoying. And that goes a really long way to ensuring parents' peace of mind too. I hope you found our quick webinar and topic useful today, and that you have a few ideas to share with your team so that you can work together to plan for those unexpected emergencies. If you have any questions, or you'd like to learn more about how Epact can support your rec organization, you can visit our website at www.epactnetwork.com, or you can reach out to our sales team by phone or email at your convenience. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again soon.